All right, today we are diving into something huge. We're looking at Aldous Huxley's incredible book, The Perennial Philosophy, and we're going on a little quest to uncover what he called the secret within you.
So, let's just start with a massive question, one that kind of sits at the heart of this whole thing. What if, underneath all the different rituals, all the stories, all the dogmas, what if all the world's great spiritual paths were all pointing to the exact same single universal truth? That's the wild idea we're digging into.
And our guide for this is Aldous Huxley. Now, yeah, you probably know him as the guy who wrote the sci-fi classic Brave New World, but in 1946, he did something completely different. He didn't write a book of his own ideas. Instead, he became a kind of detective, gathering all these direct, first-hand accounts from people who claim to have had a direct experience of ultimate reality. Saints, mystics, sages, you name it, from basically every tradition you can think of. He was looking for the common thread.
So what did he find? What was this common thread he uncovered? Well, he gave it a name, borrowing it from an earlier philosopher, the Perennial Philosophy. So let's break down what that actually means.
Okay, so this is Huxley's own definition. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but stick with me because it really boils down to three key parts. First, the metaphysics. There's a divine reality that is the foundation, the ground of everything that exists. Second, the psychology. Deep down in your own soul, there is something that is similar to, or maybe even identical with, that divine reality. And third, the ethics part. The whole point of being human, your ultimate purpose is to wake up and realize this connection for yourself.
Let's just make that super simple. The absolute core takeaways are these. Number 1, there's a divine source for everything. Number 2, a piece of that divinity isn't just out there, it's in you. In fact, at the deepest level, it is you. And number 3, your ultimate goal in life is to realize this fact. Simple, right? But it changes everything.
Okay, but here's maybe the most important part. How do you actually know this? Is it something you just read in a book and belief? Huxley says absolutely not. It's not about belief, it's about direct personal experience.
And this slide just nails the difference. Huxley makes this brilliant comparison. He says intellectuals and philosophers, they often just talk about reality. They have the map, right? But the mystics, the saints, they've actually visited the territory. It's the difference between reading a travel guide to Paris and actually sitting at a cafe smelling the croissants. They're not just thinking about it, they are knowing it firsthand. And this quote, which you've probably heard 1,000 times, suddenly makes perfect sense in this context. Huxley says, don't think of this as a moral command like be good and you'll get a reward. Think of it more like a scientific instruction. It's saying, if you purify the instrument of your perception, your own heart, your own mind, you will be able to see what's already right there. The change isn't out there, it has to happen in you, the observer. Now, to make this idea of an invisible, all-present reality a little more concrete, Huxley shares this fantastic little story, a parable from the ancient Hindu scriptures called the Chandogya Upanishad. The story is so simple. A father tells his son, Svetaketu, hey, take this lump of salt, put it in this pot of water, and come see me in the morning. Sounds like a basic science experiment, right? So the next day, the father asks his son to go find the salt. And of course, it's gone. It's completely dissolved, totally invisible. But then the father says, okay, you can't see it, so taste the water. And Svetaketu tastes it from the top, and it's salty. He tastes from the middle, it's salty. From the bottom, still salty. The salt is nowhere to be seen, but it's everywhere.
And that's when the father drops the big lesson. He explains that the divine ground of being, that true self, it's exactly like the salt in the water. You can't see it, you can't point to it, but it is the invisible, subtle essence of everything, including your own self.
And then he delivers one of the most powerful and famous lines in all of spiritual writing. He looks at his son and says, that is the true, that is the self, and you, Svetaketu, you are that. That invisible essence of the whole universe, it's you.
Now here's the kicker. This isn't just some isolated Hindu idea. This is the entire point of Huxley's project. Now watch this. Watch how this exact same mind-blowing realization pops up again and again across completely different times, cultures, and religions.
So we start with the original, from the story we just heard. In Sanskrit, it's tat tvam asi, that art thou.
Okay, now let's jump forward thousands of years to 14th century Germany. Listen to the Christian mystic Meister Eckhart. He says the exact same thing, just in his own words. The ground of God and the ground of the soul are one and the same.
Or how about this one from St. Catherine of Genoa, another Christian voice? This is even more direct, almost shocking. My me is God. She's saying her real identity isn't her personality, it's God itself.
And it doesn't stop there. We go to the Islamic mystical tradition, Sufism, and Bayezid of Bistone describes this journey where the line between him and God just completely dissolves until the only voice left cries out from within him, "O thou I." It's the same realization again and again.
So, if this is true, if this divine reality is literally our true nature, why don't we all feel it, like all the time? What's standing in the way? Well, according to the Perennial Philosophy, there is one final, really big obstacle. And here it is. And wow, they do not mince words. The final hurdle is our own ego, our little separate personality, what Huxley called our selfness. It's that constant chatter of I, me, mine, our likes, our fears, our ambitions. The mystics say that is the cloud that blocks the sun, and it's the one thing that has to be let go of if we want to see clearly.
Which brings us right to the end, and the question that this whole thing has been leading to. This isn't just a cool history lesson, it's a direct challenge. If this divine ground, this true self, is already the essence of who you are right now, then what are you choosing to identify with from moment to moment, the small separate self or the vast reality it's a part of? That's not a philosophical question, it's the question of a lifetime.